Guys, welcome back to another episode of the podcast. We have a lovely guest with us today. I'll go ahead and let her introduce herself.
Hey guys, I'm Jennifer. Guys, I can't. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. So I'm a business owner here in Charlotte. I have a cleaning company. I've been doing that for around 3 years. I obtained my degree in business, my bachelor's degree, and I've been, working hard since I was like 16, 17, because life happened real quick for me, but I can go into detail about that.
Okay. I'm not sure. Did you mention your name?
Yes.
Jennifer?
I'm Jennifer, yes.
Okay.
What's the name of your cleaning company and how old are you?
I'm 22. I started my company at 19, and it's called Bravo Cleaning Services Corporation. So Bravo is meant to simplify, show Bravo, we do a good job, but it also goes with my last name, which is Bravo.
The reaction of people after they see your work?
Yeah, that we do a good job, and we're clean, right? And we have our logo where it's kind of something like we're clapping, but we're washing our hands at the same time.
Yeah, if you check out her Instagram, you'll definitely be able to see the logo.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm curious to know, you said that life happened for you pretty quickly. What does that mean?
So what I mean by that is, when I was around 16 or 17 years of age, during the time that I think Donald Trump came into the office, my dad got deported, right? We were about to move into a house and all that, and my dad got deported, and we were kind of forced to start supporting ourselves as women, because I have 2 sisters and my mom, so it's 4 women in the family, and my dad was the only man. So he kind of supported us, for most of our lives, all of our lives. And a couple months later after that, my mom decided she did not want to be away from my father, so she decided she was going to leave the country as well. And we're from Guatemala. So 6 months after my dad got deported, my mom packed all her things, and we all did head with her to Guatemala, so that she can go ahead and settle her new life over there. She took my little sister with her, and me and my older sister were kind of, after the trip, we were left to rent around rooms with a close family friend she left us with, and we started learning how to pay bills, learning how to work, learning about car insurance, making sure you pay rent on time.
Yeah.
Learning how to respect living with somebody, right? You're just thrown into it, right? Without knowing nothing about it. You're growing up with your mom and dad cleaning up after you, and now you're just kind of you have to wash dishes. Yeah, learn how to clean your sheets, little stuff like that, right? And then, time started passing, and
can I ask, were you and your sister close enough to where you guys were we're going to do this thing together? Or did you guys go your own separate ways?
So a couple months after when me and her were together, me and my sister, I think she found somebody. So she did get married, and I kind of was left on my own. We don't really have family here, so I was left on my own to learn and grow up kind of alone, without, yeah.
Okay. Let me ask you, is that because...
It's emotional, crazy, yeah.
Did your dad, your dad was... Normally, were you raised in a traditional family to where, your dad took care of those things and he didn't teach you?
Teach us to, raise ourselves?
Well, teach you about basic things, car insurance is something you could say that's basic, but whenever you don't know, you don't know whether you're paying the right price, you don't know whether you're paying less than you have to or have the right coverage is what I mean. So you kind of got thrown in there too because your dad was basically the provider and protector, so therefore he felt like he didn't need to teach you guys. Is that the case, or?
Yeah. Also, we were just really young, Usually you don't expect to get your first car at 19, 20. Even then, people don't get their first car till 22. So you don't learn until then to do that. So having to do that at 17 and still in high school was it was kind of not natural for it to happen.
Yeah, because usually at that age you're still getting your learner's permit and stuff like that.
Right. You don't even have a license, right? Till you're 18. Yeah, so that's kind of...
Or you have a family to support you and kind of overlook
and do that with you.
But in this case, that wasn't there. So how hard was it for you to just be thrown in there? Do you feel like you developed the way that you wanted to?
Yeah, so I actually was in the wrong path before like that happened. I actually was embarrassed of my family. I didn't like to be around my mom or dad, and like when we would all go out to eat, like I preferred to be like the cool girl, right? Like, and I wanted to be seen alone with my sister or friend instead of being with family. So I really do think God wanted to show me a lesson, like, and it was kind of like your family has to get taken away from you for you to learn this lesson to value them and appreciate them. And till this day, I really do appreciate them and value them, and I try my best to like spend time with them as much as I can. But before that, I used to like smoke a lot. I used to drink. I was like in the wrong path. You know, I was still out here thinking, you know, I ran the world, right? That teenage mindset. And when this happened, of course, I was still doing some dumb things I shouldn't have been doing, which is normal. But I was able to grow up and mature like this. So I consider myself very wise at my age, like wise for my age, because I did learn a lot. And I'm still learning. We all continue to learn every day. So it did help me grow a lot as a person. And it helped me just get my mindset right. Like, I'm not going to use what I went through as an excuse to, you know, like, go in the wrong path. Instead, I'm going to use it as a way, as a motivation and as a force to like get my life together, be the first generation to make it, be the first one to like, you know, make something out of our family name, right? And I'm doing that. So
what tool do you think you use the most to kind of help you guide you through that path? Because what you said is really relevant to where, hey, you can choose this for good or you can choose this for bad.
Well, like the tool you said?
Yeah, for you.
So, I mean, I kind of didn't really know how to. I just kind of went, honestly. It's really hard because, I mean, I'm trying to go back into those memories, and it's really hard because most of my memories have kind of like blocked them. Like, because I went through a lot of trauma, like through that age. Like, I was kind of like really sad and alone for a long time.
Of course, yeah.
So that kind of was my drive, like. But naturally, I feel like most of it was like, I believe in God. So I feel like God brought people to me. And then that was like my tools. These people like provided me with what I needed, what I didn't have in the moment. Like I had a high school counselor like that. She was somehow, we met, and she was like, what's your plan with your life? Because she found out about what had just happened with me, with my like mom and dad, like the situation.
How'd you find out?
Because we had just transferred from Vance High School to West Mac, so we were apart from my parents' deportation, and we were moving into a new house. I was changing into a whole new high school, so I was going through a family being torn apart and changing high school, having to meet new friends. So it was like everything was happening at the same exact time. Yeah. So they knew about us because we were coming into a new school, and that we were on our own. And she wanted to help me and guide me. And so through people, I was able to like get on the right paths and the right steps, you know, even though it was really hard. Yeah.
Do you think your personality also helped you get through those times and meet those people?
Yeah. So being open-minded is really good because, well, I was closed-minded for a certain time, and college helped me open my mind a lot. But I think I realized I needed a help, and by allowing like her to help me, she was like, you're gonna go to college. And I was like, what? I was like, college? Yeah. I was like, hold up, you're telling me about college? I was like, I don't know even what college is. I was never exposed to that. Like, we grew up where we're like, that college is like just like something that
might not be
we don't talk about. Yeah. She was like, you have to take a SAT. And I was like, SAT? I was like, what is that? I was like I really had no clue about none of these things. And she guided me through those things, though, and that helped me. And I was open-minded about it. And I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm going to do it. I was like, she was right, because she's like, what's your plan with your life anyways, right? And I was like, I really don't know. And she was like, well, this could be one of your pathways.
Yeah, because I bet when you came back from like the trip with your parents and stuff, and you started doing your own thing, your objective wasn't, let me try to get into college.
No, yeah, because I didn't know about it.
What was the first thing that you thought of? You were like, I'm going to start making money. You know, what was the first thing that you thought of?
The first thing was just, like, figure out life. It was like, okay, make sure at least I got my rent paid, which back then was like $200 for a room. But that was a lot. I mean, I was 17. Like, you know, figuring out the car stuff, like I was talking about. And then just trying to make sure I had enough money to just take care of myself in the moment. That was it. At one point I got like 3 jobs. So I was working like 24 hours. Like I used to work as a server most of my life. I got a job like at a gas station, in cleaning. So there was one day where I went in, I clocked in the server job from like 10 a.m. and I got out at 10 p.m. And I clocked in the gas station job because I used to pick up night shifts. So I clocked in the night shift. It was like 10:30. It was like a quick trip. And I clocked out at like 5 a.m. And that morning cleaning job, it was like at IKEA. I used to work like 4 hours every day. I clocked in then. I took a nap in my car. And I would clock in that job from 5:30, 6 a.m. And I get out at 9 a.m. And I'll never forget, when I did that one shift one time, I started hallucinating. I was going crazy. But I used to work so much because I didn't know what else to do, right? That was while I was still going to high school, too.
Yeah, your only objective was making that money.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, okay. Could you tell us a little bit about how, I guess, life guided you towards starting your business?
Yeah, so my business, it was something I didn't expect that was going to happen. Why? Because by then I had already started college. So I did go through with college. And I started my first year, and then COVID happened. So when COVID happened, everybody got laid off their jobs, and I was still working as a server during that time. So the job I used to work at got shut down, and I was like without a job for like a good 6-7 months. And I got lucky though, because I was one of the people that got unemployment. So I was sleeping and making money. So yeah, it was really good. But other than that, after that, I moved back in where my parents' house was. So I started living with my cousin and my sister again. So I was basically back with the family for a while, which was really good. And during that time, my cousin, she'd always come home from work, and she'd always be like, I'm tired of working for somebody. I'm tired of being told what to do. I'm tired of like being treated unfairly, right? And she would come home and she would talk about that like all the time. Like it was kind of like every day.
What job would she do?
She did lawn care, so she was doing very heavy like sun work. Like,
that's brutal. Being outside.
Yeah, so she'd come home tired, hot, and always like complaining. And one day, cause I'm a doer, so one day I was like, "Let's do it. Why are you just talking? Let's do it." I remember I had my computer because I was going to school, and I typed up how to start a business, right? And on Google, the first thing that popped up was like IRS thing, and I clicked it, and it said, enter your business name, enter your address, like what name do you know? And then I told her, I was like, I don't know, what name could we do it, right? And then I clicked submit, and it was like, you have been registered. And I was like, cool. I was like, we have a business now.
Okay.
And then that's when I was like, we did it. I was like, now what, right?
But you always knew it was going to be cleaning, or did you start out in another type of business?
We started cleaning from the jump because my cousin was like, what? Like she would talk about like cleaning houses. I heard is good. And I knew about cleaning because ever since I was like 12, 13, my mom would always make us go clean with her, like all the time. Like I hated cleaning. Like,
would you get paid?
No, of course not. Oh my God, no.
Yeah, you're lucky if you're gonna get paid.
Oh man, no. I mean, it was the worst. Like I hated it so much, honestly, because I just hated getting up early. But back to the point was, we started it, and she was like, cleaning is a good, and I was like, yeah, sure, right? Because mind you, I'm trying to be open minded about stuff. And after that though, that following week, I did realize like if we're gonna do this, I reached out to some contacts. I think I reached out to you, and I kind of like asked for like a proper contact that helps you properly open a business, like a business coach. I'm not sure how you guys call it, like the Secretary of State.
Oh, like to register into Secretary?
To register like the business.
I mean, in the Hispanic world, there's just so many avenues to where like, I mean, obviously some people do it wrong, some people do it right, but I would just say like an accountant maybe, like or
like
a tax office.
Yeah, like a tax office. There we go. Somebody that has like a license to like register.
To register a business.
Yeah, so I properly reached out to somebody and I was like, we're going to do this. Let's do it the right way. So my biggest mistake, and I was talking about this, I always try to tell people like me and her never established like what were each of one of us going to do, basically. So that was our mistake. So, I mean...
Your cousin, right?
Yeah, my cousin.
So now you're talking about starting a business with family.
Yeah, so... Okay. So that's how we started it. That's how I started the business. Like, that's what I was trying to talk about. Like, that it was kind of like her idea, but it took me to do the work and get it done, like to actually like get it set up,
get it off the floor.
Yeah, like because we all have ideas. We have ideas, each and every one of us, right? But it takes like a doer to actually
go out and do it.
Yeah, and then some people don't like, hey, that was my idea, or I thought of that, right? But like, what did you do to get it right started or get it done, right? And that happens all over the world, like everywhere around us.
Okay.
So yeah, back to the story, I guess, was
initially it was like a partnership, no?
It was technically a partnership, like a family business.
Like 50-50 everything.
Yeah, she did put her part. I put my part in the money-wise and everything. Like, we did split everything. And once the business started running up, we started looking for clients. And we got lucky and we got, like, our first client. And so once the money started coming in, basically, like, that's where we started having issues. Because... everything was on my name because I have, a social and she doesn't. So I had to naturally take control of all of that stuff. And when money started coming in, it had to go to the bank account that was under my name. So I was in charge of finances, of paperwork. But because I knew English, and I had more advantage over her, right? And I was trying to help her too, right? Like, we were cousins. We had a really good relationship.
But at that point, you were probably doing 80% of the work compared to 20% of what she was doing. And again, you said that doing is another thing than just a thought. So what type of issues did you start having then?
So once the money started coming, she started wondering, like, okay, well, let's say we went to go clean our first house. We charged, I think, $300. That was our first ever booking. And let's say, I think... we didn't really have a set price. Like I said, we just went at it and we didn't know what to pay. So
let's see what happens.
She got like $80, and then the rest of the money, I genuinely just put it to the business. I didn't even pay myself because I was like, I want to start seeing money grow. I want to start seeing the money build. And we started getting another booking. We started getting more bookings. And once she would get paid out her part, she started wondering, like, kind of like, okay, but where's the rest of the money going? Or like, how much are you getting then? Like, are you getting this much or this much? And
would you be transparent with her and tell her?
I mean, I wasn't transparent. I will be honest, because if I was transparent, I wasn't paying myself. So I don't know why I wasn't transparent. I mean, back then I wouldn't speak up for myself, but like my idea was letting the business, like I said, like grow its wealth. So I would pay her because she has kids. She had kids. And I was like, well, I'm gonna just let it sit, but I wouldn't. And I mean, of course I grabbed maybe a couple of dollars, but we weren't, like I said, we didn't have that established, but that's where we started seeing issues. And then I also used to have a drinking problem. I'm sober now, so that's good. But I think this is where we had issues. I used to drink a lot, so I didn't know how to control what I would say or how I would act or what I would do. And I'm aware of this, which is why I don't mind talking about it. But mind you, I was 19, 20. I was 19 when this happened anyway. So I was young. We all learn. And I think I might have said something like, oh, yeah, this is my company, while I was drunk. So I think she might have misinterpreted that as like, oh, it's your company? Oh, okay. So I think those words stuck to her head. And the next day I did notice, the next couple of days, she started acting a little weird with me. I'd be like, are you going to come to the cleaning? She'd be like, no, I can't. I'd be like, oh, okay. I didn't think too much of it. And then a couple days later, she confronted me about it. And she was like, look, I can't be in the business anymore. You said it was your company. And like this isn't going to work, basically, to sum it up. And in the moment, I didn't know what to say. I was honestly, it broke my heart because I genuinely went into it like, to support both of us, like, well, like, just start something, right? And
but up to this point, right?
Yeah.
It was like that situation, like he said, that you were doing 80% of the work.
Yeah.
And she was doing like 20% of it. Right? So like inside of you, you felt like, well, maybe I do own the company because I'm the one that runs it, right?
I think so. Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. It's a lot. It's a process.
But maybe it's because it was never established too. That's the issue. That
it was never established.
Even starting business with a family is so risky because emotions change when money starts coming in, and if we don't establish them before, we're always going to be confronted with this type of issues.
Exactly.
But then how did it make you feel whenever she said, okay, I'm out of the business? Did it make you feel kind of relieved? Did it make you feel kind of guilty?
I felt heartbroken because like I really like like her support, even if it was 20%, right? Like I appreciated that. Like we were in it together, so it felt like it was like a relationship breakup.
Really. Oh, you felt like somebody was backing you, and then now you had nobody.
It felt like she just stabbed me in the back, kind of like, you're betraying me. Like we went in this together, and like, cause like I said, I don't have bad intentions. So when she was like, oh, it's mine now. No, like, you know, and. After that, I was like, honestly, I was down for a good couple of like weeks. Like, after that, we stopped talking, and we stopped talking for like a year and a half, or even 2 years, I think. Damn. Our relationship changed after that. It was never the same. So yeah, going into business with her did change our relationship, which is unfortunate, but I was able to overcome that and overpass that because she is my family at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to try my best to make things back to the way they were, even if it's hard and it takes me, you know, a step forward. Even though, like I said, if I might have said that or something, I mean, I was young. I didn't mean to. I don't know. But everything happens for a reason. Right. Because after that, I was able to, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to keep growing it. I was like, look at where we have gone. And there were a couple of clients that wanted to stay with her because she has kids, so they wanted to support her. And I was like, yes. I was like, that's fine. Like, I feel like in Charlotte or everywhere, there's so much work for people. I was like, I'm going to get my clients that want to support me, you know, in my business, basically, right? Like, since it had become my business, I did return all her money, and I even gave her some startup supplies so she can get started on her own, because that's the type of person I am. Like, I believe in, like, supporting each other doesn't matter, even if we part our own ways, you know? So, yeah, that happened, and ever since, I had to learn, you know, accounting, managing, social media, a bit of everything, hiring, training, you know, all the management, like, business owner stuff, and the business has grown till today.
And in the cleaning business, what are the biggest issues you've had first year? Well, overall as an entrepreneur, what would you say are things you didn't know?
So you learn everything. I mean, I had to learn from scratch everything. But mind you, guys, like, I was starting this business while I was in college too. So I was trying to go to school and do the business. Yeah. So I wasn't able to focus 100% on the business, which is why I had to go back again and fix the mistakes I didn't do correct, like, the first time. A lot of them were like, I didn't pay employees like the way I was supposed to, right? Basically, like, if you don't have like the proper like paperwork or documents needed to work here in the U.S., like, you're not supposed to technically hire those people, because then you're gonna have to pay a lot in taxes as a business owner. So I would hire anybody just because I was desperate, because I needed help. And in the long run, I had to end up paying a lot of taxes because, you know, I didn't have like a signed 1099. I think, no, W7, W2. What is it called again?
Well, I mean, in your field of area, like, since it's by contractors, then you can pay them by a 1099. Then
there we go, 1099,
and you will be good. W2 employees are normally tend to be 7 to 3 or like a set schedule, but. Like, let's say if there's a scope of work that needs to be done, and it's 4 houses, and they do it in 4 hours or 8 hours, that's not your issue. You are paying them at scope of work wise. So it's like it would be 1099.
Yeah.
Hey, and by the way, guys, if you guys are opening a business, go see like the correct connections that you need for a business. Don't take our advice. We're just putting that out there.
Oh yeah, for sure. But back to the thing was a lot of the other mistakes was just kind of basically like accounting stuff, you know, not having everything in order, like no policies, no proper like payment methods set up in place. So a lot of times when I started, I didn't get paid for a lot of the jobs we did. We got scammed. We got like the first job I think I got scammed of was over like $200. And back then that was a lot for me because, you know, I was starting.
You're investing into supplies, and you're not going to get that back.
I would cry. When I first started, I would cry a lot. Because
I'm sorry. I can just imagine.
No, I would cry because, like, clients would, like, treat you bad. Like, when you're cleaning, some people would treat you bad if you don't know how to, like, stick up for yourself. They'll, like, try to control you and be like, no, why don't you do this, right? But they make a big deal out of it to get some money back or, like, just make you feel bad so that like they have control over you.
And now that you've seen some of those tactics, you kind of know how to handle those
yeah,
type of
I was
clients,
like,
right?
now I was like, which I'm grateful for it. I've gone to where I am today. I mean, I've able to like know how to hire proper people and like how to know that they're reliable people. So I thank God I have like 3 crews now that work under me every day, and I don't have to work to like make money now. So that's a blessing, right? And I have separate people that do separate jobs. I try not to mix everything together. But if I continue doing that, and like having that system set up in place, I could hire another crew, and it's just gonna grow and grow and grow, right? So it's definitely, I mean, I think it's a blessing. Like I said, everything to me is a blessing.
How hard is it for you to deal with, let's say, an issue of someone that's really picky? What's the best tactic you've learned to?
I don't service them.
You don't service them?
As soon as I notice you're like an asshole, like, or you're like I can tell you're coming off with very entitled vibes, I will like naturally like not service you. And the reason why I say that is because if you are already giving me bad vibes, or if you're already kind of giving me like picky, like really rude vibes, imagine how you're gonna treat my team members, right? And my team members, I want them to get treated just like I wouldn't want to be treated, right? I'm like, because if they get treated bad, they're gonna leave, right? And if they leave, the business won't run, right? Because the business is run based on them. So like, I don't take them, I don't service them. And if I do, and I realize that they do that, I just kind of be like, well, maybe we're not the company for you, right? Because the work we do is the best work we can provide. And if you don't like it, then maybe you need to find another company that you like what they do, right?
They can suit your needs.
Yeah.
So basically, it's also knowing you as a business owner's your boundaries.
Yeah. Or like, basically, this is what I believe in. Like, not every client is going to be your client. Like.
Or not every client is for you?
Yeah, like, how do I say it? So basically, like, there's a client that might like love your work, right? And might get like love you, support you, right? But that client might not be a good fit with another company because they don't have that relationship established. I don't know if that kind of makes sense. I wish I could find an example, but my brain.
Or for me, even as I think about it, I'm like, well, if you're gonna be picky and you're not gonna be able to want to pay the right price, then,
there we go. Yeah.
Then we can't, as a business, function for you.
Yeah.
Just like I feel like Hispanics too are taking advantage in a lot of areas, in a lot of areas of work, to where like, hey, build me that deck, but I want that deck just for you to buy the wood, and I'm gonna pay you a 10% plus, whenever it's supposed to be 60% more than what the material cost is. So maybe it's learning to deal with those people, because I mean, those wouldn't be ideal clients, because at the end of the day, you have bills to pay too. So if you can't pay them, then
so that's what I'm saying. At the beginning, I would take those clients, and they'd be like, we'd finish a whole clean, right? It'd be like 4 of us going into these mansions, right? Like mansions, like 6-bed, 5-bathroom homes. And when we're done, they'd be like, hey, you didn't do here. Or they'd be like, hey, can you try to clean this more? Or they'd be like, hey, could you like try to pass this? Or hey, did you do here? And we'd be like, yes, we did it. And then at first I wouldn't speak up for myself, so I'd go and do it again, right? And I serviced, for example, that client like a couple more times after that. And after a couple of years, when she called me one more time, I was like, maybe she might have changed. I'm gonna give her another shot. And we went again, and it was the same exact thing. And after that, I let her know politely. I was like, we tried our best as a company, our work. And if you don't like that, that just means like that, we're not the company for you. That's kind of what I meant by that. Like, that's the best job we can provide. And if you're not happy, then that's what I'm saying. It's a personal issue, right? But some people try to take out those personal issues on you and make it seem like you're the company, like you have a defect, right? But in reality, like, then why do I have 20, 30 other clients that love what I do, but yet you're not satisfied? You see what I'm saying?
True.
Yeah. So it's like, so you're not your company isn't the issue, it's the client, right? Mm-hmm. But some of us don't know how to like define that and be like, basically, like some of us think that because one client doesn't like our work, our company now is like, we are horrible, right? But no, like one job or one client isn't going to define you, right? Like, that's just their issue.
So you would say that Bravo Cleaning Services represents like the best that you can get?
Exactly. Like, or any company, yeah. Like, I feel like whatever, because, right, it's like you get what you pay for, right? So some companies like...
No, but I'm talking about like just Bravo Cleaning Services. Oh, Bravo Cleaning Services,
yeah. I mean, yeah, that's what I think. And I mean, we always try our best. That's why I say that, because that's what I do. I train my people to always provide the best like service we can.
Yeah, so if you're hearing this, hey, go book Bravo Cleaning Services.
For sure.
You sound like you were gonna say something.
No, I was just gonna still keep on talking about the journey as an entrepreneur. Like, what are kind of the obstacles you've faced other than, you can say, like clients, or has there been any insurance claims?
My God, yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, I forgot. It's because sometimes you go through so much, you forget about everything because you're like, oh my God, like that was too much. But I actually went through a claim once, which is a biggest mistake as an owner, or like just having a service company. Make sure you always have insurance, because
General liability or workers' comp? I mean, if you could explain that too.
Yeah, like what it means, or like kind of.
Yeah,
like,
what it means.
Well, workers' comp is to protect your people that work for you, and then limited liability is like in case you go into, like, if you're bonded and insured, if you go into the home and somebody tries to steal something or something breaks, the company can cover that for you. Like if you scratch a floor, right, and it's something that you can't fix easily, you can call your insurance to get it fixed, right? That way you're always protected. So it's always better to be safe than sorry. So luckily when I started, I had insurance and I was willing to pay and invested that because I was always told I need that. So like I said, I always hired people out of like being desperate most of the time. And one time I hired a group, like they subcontracted for me for a job. And I didn't mind who they would bring to the job sites because I was like, I just pay them. Let's say a job is $500. I pay them $300. They can pay however like they want to their people. So they'd bring 2 girls, or
as long as they get it done.
As long as they get it done. So I sent this group to a job site once, and they brought 2 girls. Like, I don't want to say what their ethnicity is, but that doesn't matter. Anyways, let's just say that this girl was playing around from the jump. I wasn't there, but that's what the lady I subcontract said. And this woman didn't use a ladder to get on the sink. Instead, she got on with her knees, and she slipped back. So because, you know, when you get on the sink, you open the cabinet and you crawl on top. And then she was trying to clean the mirror. So when she fell down, her whole butt fell directly on the cabinet. So the cabinet kind of popped off and she fell back. So then, mind you, the worst part about this too is the client himself was very, very picky and very delicate. So that was also a very bad thing.
Because you broke the cabinet.
No, he was already like that. So that was also just bad timing, bad place.
It was a combination of all bad
everything
things.
Bad.
Yeah.
And I got calls, because they were on the job site and they were like, hey, she just fell. We're going to take her to the ambulance. She says she's not okay. She can't walk. And I was like, whoa. I was like, all right. I didn't know what to do because that was the first time. I was like, am I responsible for this? I was like, because I don't pay her. I was like, but it's my job site. So I was like, I didn't know what to do. And my mistake was not reporting it to my insurance, but because I didn't know, right? Mm-hmm. A couple of days later, I get a call from my insurance with a claim that she had made against me with an attorney, saying she wants to get compensated for her, the damage she has received on my job site. It was crazy. And I was like, why am I responsible for this though? I was like, I only paid them. I even asked my insurance. She's like, yeah, it doesn't matter. They were like, that's why whenever you subcontract the company, make sure they have insurance. Because let's say if the people I subcontracted would have insurance and she would have fell, it would have been liable on them because they pay her. But because I subcontracted her and basically they all fall under her, but she doesn't have insurance, basically they all fell under me, even if I didn't pay her directly. I hope that's not too confusing, but
no,
that makes sense.
To make it basic.
Easy.
I mean, yeah, you explained it really well, actually. Yeah. And so therefore you were liable for that accident. Mm-hmm. And how did your insurance end up resolving that? Did you end up paying because that's so frustrating. It's not even your fault. And then people are quick to also get a lawyer. There is something faster than a kid's hand, and it's when people fall, lawyer, insurance, they think about that.
And I think as a business owner, that could be one of the most frustrating things. People go into a job or something like that trying to get a benefit, or trying to get hurt, trying to find something out of it.
Get some compensation out of it.
Yeah, get some compensation out of it.
A weak point to your business.
Yeah, and mind you, I had no clue even this lady's name. So I'm over here getting a case on a woman's name that I'm like, whoa, who are you, right? Because I didn't know who she would hire, what type of people she would hire. Mm-hmm. So my mistake one was just not reporting it because I didn't know like it was under me. But after that, like the incident with the cabinet, guys, we forgot about the materialistic part. So while that was going on, I started getting calls from my client like, hey, this cabinet is vintage, because the house they were doing is a very mansion, like it was like a vintage, like a very old house. So like a cottage, I don't know how to explain it. It was very old. And the cabinet itself was like a very old piece that cost over like 10K, right? It was exaggerated, but I don't know.
Because he was upset.
So basically, the pay from that home was being held against me, and I wasn't gonna get paid until I fixed that part, or I paid for the service. Let's say he hired somebody to fix it, whatever that was gonna cost, I had to cover it. So until that happened, I wasn't gonna get paid. And then on the meantime, I was getting this whole like case of workers' comp on me. So I just had like so many things going on, and I was like, whoa, like I don't know what to do, right? But that's how I learned.
How'd that make you feel?
I mean, I was mad. Like I cried again. I cried about everything. Like that's why I'm so strong now. Like people can't really walk over me anymore, because I had to like literally cry and like go through this stuff to like be strong and be where I am today, like put my foot down.
So at the same time that you think back on those things, like,
yeah,
damn, that really happened.
Me, like, emotional, yeah. Like,
it's a lesson that you learn, right?
Yeah. So long story short, she won the case. So she got paid out, like, let's say a good amount of money. I don't want to say the amount, but she got paid out. I had a contact of somebody that knew how, like, was a handyman. So I had to find solutions for it, because I was like, I could call my insurance, but that's going to cost a lot. So I was like, maybe I could hire somebody to fix it. So I had a good family friend that was like, let's go, I'm gonna get it fixed, don't worry, I got it. He went in and he fixed that cabinet in 10 minutes, 10 fucking minutes. And the person that like that was like, he had hired somebody to go check it out and quote it, it was gonna cost like $3,000 or something just for the pieces. So like,
even it's probably just a hinge that fell off.
But you know, also people that like service want to get their money too, so maybe they see that like the client has money, so they want to take advantage of them too.
But you know, see, that's where I kind of see where we don't charge enough. Mm-hmm. Because just like your family member to help you out, he fixed it in 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. 10 minutes, what? You could have paid him $500, let's say, something like that.
Yeah.
And then there's these service companies, huge corporations, and that want to come and charge $3,000. And people will pay that instead of paying a small business owner $200, $300.
Yeah.
It's what I don't get.
All you had to do was like the hinge, like flatten it out, because mind you, it had like folded in half, bent, and because it was bent, when the person who came to see the job said we had to order that whole new piece, and that piece itself was really expensive. So that's what the client was told. So that's why he was threatening me, like, it's going to cost you this much. And I was like, whoa, like, I can't afford that. Like, what the heck? And this guy came in and fixed it immediately. And I'll never forget the relief I felt in a moment. I was like, what? I was like, that's it? And after that, I was like, well, now pay me my money. Like don't hold that money against me. And I got paid, like, 10 minutes after that. Or, like, right, like, as we were leaving. Because the client checked, and he's like, oh, you're good. Like, it was that easy, right? And I was like, yeah. And, I mean, our relationship with that client is cut, of course, but that was fixed. And then my insurance did go up, and that insurance company I was with, like, did cut ties with me too, I think, because insurance companies are also, like, once they see that you have a case, like, with your company, they don't want to really accept you also, because they're scared you might get more cases. Because it's
risk assessed. So the riskier your business is, the less providers will want to insure you.
So after that, like, they didn't want, like, basically any business to do with me, the insurance, I think, after that, because they were like, we're not really getting much out of you, and we just had to, like, handle this case. Mm-hmm. So after that, when I tried to go with other insurance companies, it was really hard. Like, nobody would be like, oh, sorry, we can't take you on. I'd be like, what? So, I mean, I have insurance now, but it was really hard to go through all that. Yeah, it's crazy. So, yeah, she got paid, and I was like, okay. I was like, that's fine. I was like, whatever. I was like, well, I'm just grateful I had insurance, because imagine if I didn't, right? So I always try to look at the bright side of things, too. Like, that's why you have insurance. It's really important.
Yeah, lesson learned, huh?
No. And ever since I put my foot down, I was like, I will not ever hire people. If I'm going to subcontract somebody, make sure they have insurance if it's a team. But if not, I'm going to hire, like, independent contractors just to work under, but, like, straight, directly. But no, like, sometimes I would hire people and they'd be like, can I bring somebody else? I'd be like, nope. You cannot bring somebody else. I'm hiring you, and it's only you. I don't want to see anybody else on that job site.
Yeah,
because I was like, if something happens to that person, I'm gonna be responsible, and I don't know nothing about them.
Because when you try to be a nice person and help people out, I mean, sometimes it can backfire.
Yeah. So ever since, I'm like, nope. I prefer to hire a single person like that works the job sites, or two people, which is my parents that also work for me, and I just assign jobs depending on who can handle what. So, yeah.
And you said something curious. You said your mom and dad work for you now. Was there something established there too, to where they would feel like they own part of your business, or is it just employee based, and was that established?
So it was just employee based. So when they came back, which is they came back a year ago. They technically can't work, like, I mean, they can work, but they decided it was best to work with me, like, because I'm their daughter and they could support me as well. So it's a win-win. I had a company car in the moment, and I was able to supply them with the company car so that they can get around and do their things. And the flexible scheduling also was, like, a benefit for them. So I just kind of, like, let them know they were going to get paid, like, like regular workers, like you were going to get a commission, but you guys have the vehicle, like you guys have the gas card, I supply, and I put all the supplies. So you guys just have to put your part, which is do the labor, and the rest is handled for you guys. But I try to make sure I pay them enough because it's two people. But to this day, I mean, they've been with me like for years, so it's been good. I mean, it's... But
you didn't have to establish any boundaries with your parents?
No, nothing.
Do you think that's because they understand you?
I think because, yeah, I mean... I never really thought about it. Like, I mean, I let them know straight up, like, how I pay out people, like, how I pay out everybody. So I think they were, like, okay with that. And as long as it's something that they can live off of, I think that's what matters. Like, it's...
Yeah, and, like, I think them being your parents, too, they weren't going to try to, let me get part of the business or something like that, right?
I mean, and they know, like, I think they realize I can handle it. I don't see why, but because, mind you, like, we grew up with, like, my mom worked in cleaning for a big company. My dad worked as a forklift driver, so I mean they've always been like employees themselves, so they don't ever like they never knew about like business or being your own boss, like. So even if they wanted to, I don't think they would have. Not saying they wouldn't have been able to, but it's just not something that they were interested in, like to do.
How do your friends see you? Your close friends regard you as for going through business administration school and at the same time holding down a business?
A lot of my friends are actually older than me, and a lot of them always tell me they look up to me. Like, one of my closest friends, she's always like, I look up to you, like, look at what you've done and you're only 22, or when I was 21. And they're like that's so good, like, keep going. But a lot of my friends always tell me just like that it's impressive, like how far I've gotten for my age. Right. I don't compare anybody, right? But they always say like, oh, when I'm like, we're direct between my friendships, but they're like, oh, I'm barely about to get my first car, or I'm barely getting this, and I'm like, don't worry, because we all have like there's a time for our lives for something to happen. Like, some of us don't learn to drive until we're 22, 23, but that's okay. Like, everything happens, and I always tell people, I'm like, mind you, like, honestly, I didn't want this to happen, but it was forced onto me. So that's kind of like something I always say, like, it was like,
it made you learn, it made you grow up.
Yeah, I had to. So, because I was like, I bet you, I was people like, if this wouldn't have happened, I wouldn't have matured until I was like 22 or 23, I bet. Because, mind you, I was a rebel when I was like,
and then
in my teenage years.
Going back a little bit on that moment, you did go firsthand through the... you don't value something until it's gone, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then I wanted to ask you, you seem like a pretty busy woman, right? And how does it feel giving employment to your parents?
Oh, it feels really good. But there's also guilt that comes with it.
How come?
There's guilt that comes with it because, you have your people working for you, right? So then you kind of be like, I feel bad because they're working, like, while I'm here managing the business or something, right? I'd be like, they're over here working and I'm over here laying down, right? But I'm like, when I mean laying down, I mean like managing computer and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, it'd be that guilt, right? Like survivor's guilt, I'm not sure how to call it. And Yeah, it was kind of like a survivor's guilt feeling, but I couldn't like stand the idea of like my parents like working and I'm over here like just managing the business, right? And
could you explain a little bit on what survivor's guilt means?
Well, I guess I don't know if it kind of is in that term, but it's basically like when you make it so far, you feel guilty because other people around you aren't there. So then you kind of feel like I should try to like diminish myself so I don't look like I'm up here, right?
Oh,
so you try to put yourself with other people. That's how I see it, right? Everybody has their own definition, but it's like you make it to this point, right? Making it could mean many things. For mine, making it was like being a boss and an owner and like not having to work while I had people working. So I was like, oh my God, like I'm here. I'm like, but I feel bad now. Like I feel bad because I've always been in this position and now I'm here. So like I would cry a lot too. I would cry a lot about everything. Oh my God. But I don't feel guilty no more because now I realize I try to look at it from the positive perspective, which is I can provide work for my parents and I can provide a stable pay. While if they were working for another company or for other people, they'd probably treat them bad, not offer flexible scheduling how they want it, and just control them and maybe underpay them. Like we were talking about how some people take advantage of like the Hispanic community.
But what you're saying is curious though, like that thing. You basically we defined ourselves based off our trauma or based off our life experiences because we've always been down here. Same thing, I think, for me and my brother. It's kind of like we're defined at a certain level.
We're not expected to
but our ideas in our heads are always like, I think we've always been positive people and said like, okay, we're going to always reach higher goals. But the fact is that once you set the bar high, you get there. But then it's even higher, and then you're like, I'm not even enough.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, that's actually what I'm going through right now. So, like, now that I graduated college, I moved into my first apartment ever, which was one of my dreams. Like, and then I'm a business owner, right? Like, which is really established. Now I'm like, okay, I reached a top 3 things that is really hard for people to do at my age, right? I'm here now. I'm like, but what's next? Like, I'm not even there yet. I was like, there's so much more, right? And now I'm like trying to figure out what's next, but I gotta understand that also. Like I am young, and I have to take step by step.
And as an entrepreneur, I feel like you feel like it's a race, and then sometimes you do have to hold yourself back and say like, well, let me enjoy the moment a little bit, or let me enjoy the journey, because those are things that I go through. And I feel like even you can feel, because obviously you don't have the support of your sister like that, right? Or in your business?
No, it's on me, honestly. It's all you? Yeah.
How do you feel like just being one alone? Because in our businesses, I feel like we always have each other. Even if we fight or even if we have an argument, I can put it on someone. But for you to be, I guess you could say, the pillar of your business, how do you feel? Who do you rely on?
That's why I try to like network and like try to find reliable resources. That's kind of how I go to for like advice, like my accountant. But like other than that, I usually try to like sit down and be like, okay, what are my solutions, right? And like list out every possible solution for like whatever it is that I'm going through, or like how to solve it, kind of, if that makes sense. But other than that, I have to kind of go through it on my own, like in my own head, and like try not to stress out too much about it though, like.
So you really don't focus more on like, oh, this is a problem, but instead it's like, okay, what are the solutions to the problem?
What am I going to do to fix it?
Because I used to like stay up to like 2, 3 a.m. thinking about what was going on, like a problem. Stress. It was so bad. Like I didn't know how to control it. Like I could be on a date, like, with my boyfriend or something, and like I'm over here stressing about something about work, and I didn't know how to control it. So like I had to like instead be like, you know what? Let me find out what the solutions are. It's this or this. Okay, now I know. Let me put it aside. And tomorrow I'm gonna go back and go through each solution and actually go through with it and see which one works best. Because if I didn't actually write it down, then in my head I'd be thinking endless solutions or endless thoughts.
You'd let it get out of hand.
Yeah, but once I know I got 2 ways to either fix it, or like, solve it, whatever, then I'd be like, okay, like I can try to push it aside.
And how's your social life? Does it still intervene to where like it's your stress still gets to you whenever you're in social gatherings, or does it intervene even with your family or your relationships?
Yeah, I mean it always happens, but I've learned to
tone it down a little bit.
Pipe it down. Like it always happens. I'm like on a lunch with a friend, and I'm out of nowhere. It's been calm all morning, and I'm getting like 3 calls, 2 client messages, and I'm like, why are people trying to call me right now when I'm like trying to enjoy my social life? I don't understand it. It's just it's weird. Life is like that. And then
life as a business owner, right?
Yeah, and then I'd be like, nope. I'd be like, put my phone away, do not disturb, and I'd be like, I'll handle it once this lunch is over. I'm like, I don't have to get to it right now, right? But obviously, if it's something important, I'll like step aside. But I try to respect that I'm with the person and their time, and then I can put time aside for my business after.
So, okay.
Yeah.
What I wanted to ask you, what advice would you give to new up and coming entrepreneurs that are maybe trying to start a cleaning business like yourself?
Just I always tell people like just have your boundaries. That's my biggest thing. Like I think I say that because I didn't have that, but just always have your boundaries. Like, and if you're like, well, what do you mean by that? Well, you know what your boundaries are. Like, when somebody does something to you and it ticks you off, that's your boundary. Like you can't stand that. So
like stand up for yourself and say something.
Yeah, like if you can't stand that people like would curse at you, right? In anything, then you know that's a boundary. So write that down because it happens in that field. It's just an example.
But you go about it in a respectful way, right? Like, hey, that's more kind of like a you problem than a me problem. Like, you're not gonna add fire.
Yeah. So in work, I'm very professional. Like, and that's one thing I've always been told, and that's why people like love me and like I know how to like keep separate, like differentiate. I don't know how to say professionalism and the friendship. So the client, there's times where we're like talking about like how's their day, and then whenever they have a complaint, I don't ever mix it or take it personal. I'm like, we understand, we'll get it fixed, we got it handled, and then we can go back to that like friendship, like vibe, like. So that's what clients like, the professionalism that I can give them, but at the same time like a really friendly service.
That's a really thin line though. I feel like, no, because once you start getting into a friendship, then people start feeling like they could come underneath you and take advantage of you.
So actually, I mean, it depends on the client, I guess, but usually not.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of times it could fall on you where you don't blur the lines between like the friend relationship and the business side. So I think that's a good thing that you do.
Oh yeah, but I'm always very professional, right? Like even if like I said in the moment, like when we go to job sites, like we're like talking, how's your day been? Where are you guys going? They always try to make conversation because that's the type of relationship I have. But let's say after like, hey, you guys kind of messed this, I'll be like, we're sorry, and I'm professional about it, and I think that's what they appreciate, and they know like I don't take it personal because I'm like, this is business, this is strictly business. So.
And one thing I'm curious about, you're like an independent woman, right? And I feel like you hold yourself at a high standard. So now your standard of the type of men that you're going to be with has evolved too. What do you expect out of your partner? Do you expect support on your entrepreneurship? What type of man do you think you need in your life?
I'm sorry, that's really hard. I mean, it's not really hard to say, but...
Just think about it on your day-to-day, I would say.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I bet you need the support. Sometimes I bet you need the advice. So what type of man do you feel like fits your life best? Because as an entrepreneur, you are highs and lows. You are goods and bads. And there are days you just can't stand anything because obviously you have so much on your plate.
Yeah, so the good thing about like the relationship I've been in for a long time, like I'm very direct also about like my boundaries. There's times where I'm like, hey, like I need my space to get what I need to get done with my work, but I want you to know like we'll set aside some time tomorrow to then hang out and spend some time together. And like I've always like been like this since the beginning, so it hasn't been an issue like till this day because like I've always let this person know like straight up like like I have to get this done, and if I don't get it done, I'm gonna be in a bad mood or I'm gonna be stressed while we're together. So to avoid that, let me get what I gotta get done, and like so basically like support and understand and like be there.
So I feel like what you're trying to say is that you would need somebody, or like in your case, a businesswoman would need kind of somebody else that understands the situation that like.
And doesn't take it personal.
Yeah.
You're like, you don't want to hang out with me? No, it's not that. I just got things to do, but I'll see you tomorrow morning. Right?
Yeah.
So,
right.
I mean, so that would also take a man that has his own things to do.
Yeah, I mean, of course, because if he's just trying to, like, cling on you all the time or trying to just take all your time, like, that's not healthy for you, because then you're gonna feel bad for not giving him your time.
Or for the other person too, I would say, right? In retrospect.
Yeah. So
and it could take away from your business at some point, right?
Yeah, it could. I mean, because if you like put too much time, I mean, you have to like balance. That's the thing too about being a business owner. You gotta balance friends, relationships, family, yourself. Right? Yourself is really important. That's key for sure. Like when you know you need space, let this person know, because if then you give your space to them while you're in a bad mood or you don't want to share that space, then that's where the issues start, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So clear communication before.
Yeah, just be straight up. Yeah, like
clear communication.
I'm tired, and I know you want to see me, but please understand I'm tired.
Right.
Like, and you're like, oh well, like I said, there's solutions to it. So like, okay, well, how about we watch a movie then and do something relaxing so that you feel relieved, right? So it could be that too. You could hang out with them, but do an activity that's like calm, relaxing, that won't stress you out, right? Like going out to eat on a date or something.
Yeah.
So but I guess he has to be, busy too, to make it work.
Okay. No, I would say that's good.
No, but
that's good.
Yeah.
I would just say, because the standard of men that women want these days, it's like continuously evolving. So definitely, I feel like you've gone through school, business administration now, bachelor's. You have your own business. You still continue. You're so young, and you feel like you can continue to grow. So therefore, I feel like, in essence, for you to continue growing, you'd also need someone just like your profile too, right?
Yeah. So it's like you surround yourself what you want to be. Like, how they say, like the fruit thing. Like if you hang around a rotten apple, like you become the rotten apple. So like you gotta surround yourself with like-minded people that are also striving for something. So it's true, because if I hang out with somebody that just wants to smoke all the time and drink, I'm most likely gonna, fall with them, right? Because that's the type of person I'm hanging out with. But if I'm hanging out with somebody that like is up here, I'm gonna aspire to be like them, and I'm gonna continue wanting to hang out with them, right? So it's really good to have somebody that is also on your level, because if not, they're gonna try to bring you down with them on their level, which is not working if they don't work. Right?
In your close network, do you think you found someone that you look up to as well? Or like, are you still looking for your mentor?
I look up to my boyfriend a lot,
Yeah.
And his family, because, well, your family, like, I'm just trying to talk so people can understand.
Yeah, vamos a soltar la sopa ahorita.
In a different perspective, right? But like in my boyfriend's family, like his parents aren't from here, so like I respect, like they've built like something big, like a good business, and I'm like inspired to them, because like they're not from here, they worked hard their whole life, and I'm like inspired, like if they can do that, anybody can build anything, an empire, right? Your excuse can't be I'm not from here. No, like that's not an excuse. Like regardless of that, like you can still do something. It's just you got to do the work.
And okay, yeah, exactly. You said it right there, because if I can add to that, it's like expectations are high, but so are your expectations from yourself should also be high, because I bet it's even hard. Like everybody wants a business. Everybody wants to have their crew. Everybody wants to say that, oh, I don't have to work because I'm generating money somewhere else like that. Yeah. But
the first thing that comes is
the work, the suffering.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't even get through that mentally, you're never gonna really achieve anything. And I feel like the line now is like, oh, generational wealth. Oh, we start investing in here and you're gonna start making so much money. Honestly, whenever people start saying you're gonna make so much money, it's gonna be so easy, I back away from that.
Scam. Low key.
Because it's hard. I mean, you've lived through it. You've gone through so many phases. I would say like in 5 years, you've lived 30 years.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's why, but like I was saying, like things don't come easy. So that's like, it's true about life. Like some things don't come easy. I mean, some things do for some people, but if you want something, you gotta work for it. So it's true what they say, but.
True.
Yeah.
Jennifer, thank you for coming on the podcast. I feel like a lot of women also can try to grab inspiration from this, because I mean, you are a woman too, but you don't I feel like you don't see yourself as a victim. First of all, you've used your situation for better, and I just hope anyone hearing this can I feel inspired. If she can do it, you can also make the best out of your situation and evolve just like she has. I feel like, hey, I mean, this is not the stop, right?
Yeah, no, definitely not.
What advice do you feel like you want to give women out there that feel alone, maybe are going through a hard time right now and aspire to be someone? Specifically for women, because
right.
I feel like you grew up with sisters, so you're kind of more aware of that situation.
Right. Wow, I'm going to need a couple minutes to think about that. I mean, that's... I'm going to probably need a couple minutes to think what to say. Give me a few. It's a lot of advice I could give, but I always feel like build something for yourself that like you can like be proud of, kind of like even if it's something small, right? Like I don't know what's a good example, but just always try to like build something for yourself, right? Even if it's like you built a family, like that's something to be proud of, or like you have a good established job, you got a car, like appreciate the little things basically, because sometimes as women we like try to compare ourselves to others, and that makes us feel down, like less about ourselves. But in reality, like I was telling y'all, like we all live our lives, like do things at a certain time, so just kind of like appreciate those things, and like that's your life, so just kind of be thankful for it,
be thankful and be present, maybe. In your
be
moments.
present basically.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
because the little things matter, they go a long way.
Okay.
And again, we appreciate you for coming
Thank
on.
you for
and
coming.
So thank you guys.
Guys, if you guys stayed this long, we appreciate you guys. Go check out Bravo Cleaning Services. You have a website, right?
Yeah,
and
I have everything.
You have Instagram. You have Facebook.
Yeah. Well,
check out the videos.
Like, comment, subscribe, and thank you again. If you stayed this long, we'll see you on the next one.
Jennifer, thank you for coming.
Bye. Thank you guys.
We'll catch you guys in the next one.
All right. Bye.